I would ask myself, what is it about his change that is causing me to
Right.
react this way? Right? Is it something where I feel like he's going to be harmful to himself, or is it something where maybe I'm being selfish
Yeah.
because I don't want the change and I just want to keep him in this little box
Mhm.
and I want you to always just be this way because it's what I like.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, your happiness also matters to me.
And
You know
that
what I'm
and that's what
saying?
I was gonna say.
So I think what it is like you have to ask yourself like, what is it about my partner that's changing that is giving me such a discourse with it, right? Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Life After I Do. I'm your host, Nisha G, and I'm here with my husband today. Well, I said that like I'm here with somebody else on most days. It's always him. But I'm here with my husband when he stops singing. So this is my water or coffee break time.
It's your boy Molito. Or as my lovely daughter says, Molito.
Molito. Hey babe.
Hey, Boskies.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm
me too.
refreshed. I'm good.
We've had a good couple of days.
We're not recording late at night. Late at night. Kiss
Love Lonely
me in the
Stoners.
morning. Late
Oh,
at
that's
night.
not where I was going with
And
that.
yeah, I know.
That's not.
Yeah.
We were not on the same page.
Yeah, that's all right.
It's okay.
Sometimes it on yin and yang.
Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't. What commercial is that?
Planters commercial.
Was it? No, for real, because I
Those are
asked
Planters
you that
commercial.
question and then I quickly forgot.
How you doing, Boskies?
I'm doing good, aside from the fact that I'm missing 3 nails that I broke yesterday. So if you guys see me trying to, like, cover my hands, it's because my nails are looking extremely,
They're not
non-demure,
not demure.
non-cutesy. They are not demure, they are not
That's cause
cutesy.
that's cause you was momming yesterday.
Yeah, so I'm like and
Oh
then
wow,
and then the
wow.
same nails broke, like my 2
Hey
my
man.
2 center fingers
Well
broke and
now
my
it's all on the
thumb.
internet now. So
Well, look, I'm not ashamed, I'm just saying,
you was
like,
out here doing shit.
it's just like, people like to pick apart, like, the little things. They
Hey,
either like the little things or they pick apart the little
I'm
things,
not
but
concerned about
I'm up
anybody's
here today
opinion.
with missing fingernails, okay? I'm getting it taken care of, don't come for me because no one sit for you,
I don't care about the
okay? And
opinion of
if you
nobody. They
complain
ain't
and you
paying my
don't like
bills.
it that much, then you know what you can do? You can get them done for me.
The only opinion you should be mine
Jeez.
because I'm the one paying your bills. And they're not giving. They're just not.
No, you did not. They're not
They're
giving.
not
They're just
giving.
not.
They're not.
Your shape up is not giving.
Oh, that's cool. Don't matter.
It's just not.
Now she being petty because I was petty.
Well, as they know, I'm Petty Betty.
I thought you was petty Patty.
Petty Patty, Petty Betty. I'm all the petty petties. No, I'm
Okay.
not. I should stop saying that because people are going to think that I am.
No, because you are.
No, because I do have tendencies and I shouldn't lie about who I am.
Is exactly what she said she is.
Anywho, how was your week, babe?
I mean, their name is Decepticons. We shouldn't trust them. It's in the name.
It is in the name.
That was the best part of the movie.
Their names are Decepticons.
My week was my week was okay. It was okay.
Okay.
It was okay. Since the last time we recorded, we went back to Disney twice.
Yeah.
And we had a ball this time.
Yeah.
And she enjoyed herself. I enjoyed
And now
myself.
she's a Disney kid.
And now I'm a Disney dad.
I know.
I've been converted.
I know.
I felt like I was at some type of
Now I feel like it's a cult.
I went to like some type of cult meeting and I left. I came home with a pamphlet and converted the whole family.
Bye. Goodbye.
I'm like, Disney got me in the hook. I said, "Oh, we coming back here?"
Yeah. So now we're considering season passes.
No, look here.
We're considering.
There's no considering. It's done.
No, we're considering.
The second that queue opens up, I'm in line.
We're considering.
I'm in line. The second, if you don't want to, you ain't got to get me and my baby.
Although I will say, I do like Disney. Now, don't get me wrong. I think it's really important to take kids when they're children. I mean, granted, you had a great experience. I also
Yeah.
had a great experience, But looking at it from her perspective,
She was great.
you know what I mean? Like now that's in almost like ingrained in her as part of like fun and stuff,
Yeah.
and she
I
asks
will.
for it now. It's like that's where I get it
I will
as you
say,
grow up.
I think the last time I went to Disney, I was maybe 20.
No, the last time you went to Disney was 17
Oh yeah.
because you took me
Oh,
for my first time to Disney,
oh
and we
yeah.
ended up leaving early because it was
It
for your
wasn't.
brother and sister's 9th or 10th
It don't
birthday,
matter. It
and
don't,
we did not have a great time.
I didn't enjoy that.
I did not enjoy that. I was like, "Can we go home?" Like,
But
this is
Disney
not
as a
fun.
dad,
But I wish I had that body going to Disney now. But
I just wish I had them heels. I wish I had them heels and them feet I had back then.
no,
But,
yeah,
but Disney now, it was great. I had a great time,
no,
especially
I had a really good time
especially
too.
at California Adventure.
California, okay,
Adventures.
California Adventure is my favorite, and like I told you, I would consider the passes just to go to California Adventure. I do like Disneyland, but I do think, I mean, obviously, it's geared more towards the
Yeah.
children.
Well,
But
see,
California
you say
Adventure,
that. Oh, okay, the Disneyland park.
the Disneyland
Yeah,
park,
because
yeah.
California Adventure, that was for me.
Yeah, no, California Adventure is my favorite. Like California Adventure for me is that would be fun for like how my friends just like go to
Yeah.
downtown, go to Disney. I wouldn't mind just like going at 3 o'clock or something and going to DCA. Like
Because
that's a thing
look
for
at you
me.
calling the DCA.
Well, because my friend got me calling it DCA. Her husband said the same thing when her and I were talking about it, and he was like, "DCA, what's that?" And
Yeah.
she was like, "Disney California Adventure." He was like, "Oh, we fancy now. We're creating acronyms."
Right. I would say California Adventure. I love. I got a chance to see Deadpool.
Yeah,
The limited. I guess that's just the thing since the movie is out. That was real dope.
I like the Avengers. That was my favorite.
Oh, I didn't get to see Thor. So I was mad about.
Yeah, but I like Avengers is my favorite, and I will admit, even though
Oh, let me say this real quick. I don't know who they got playing Loki,
he did a good job,
but he looked just like the.
He did.
I
He
said
did.
this guy. I said
Yeah.
you might want to get some be a double or something.
And I really hope that they are paid well because they never break character.
Yeah.
And I've heard that's a thing, like they're not supposed to because they never break character. And I
Well,
love
because
it.
I did get in an argument yesterday with a stormtrooper.
No, you didn't.
I did.
What, when you took Phoenix over there to take
we
a
got in an
picture?
argument.
Why?
Yeah, we had a little.
Did
back
you
and-
take the pictures with them?
We didn't take the pictures because they're a movie patrol, so they were on
Oh.
patrol,
Mhm.
and we couldn't get people off the way. But we had a little back and forth about who was in charge.
Okay. Bye,
You know,
Maurice.
And I told him, I
You're
said,
not 10.
I'm not gonna take no lip from somebody who can't shoot straight.
You're-
Because stormtroopers don't hit nothing.
Okay. Anywho. The ride, though,
Which right?
Star Wars, Is that
The smugglers run.
made me nauseous.
That's because you're getting old.
Yeah. These inner ears of mine, these inner ears are taking me out.
I don't understand how you're not. You're the one driving. Our two pilots were killing us.
Me and Phoenix were killing it. What are you talking
No,
about?
you were killing us.
Well, that was your daughter because she was moving back and forth like this. But anywho, yeah.
We had a great time.
Disney was really fun.
We're not gonna recap the whole day, but it was great.
Yeah, it was great. It was really good.
It was great. And my baby rode all the roller coasters.
I'm so proud of her. Like,
She did
for
her
real,
thing.
for real. I told her I was really proud of her. The only one that she was really kind of hesitant about was the Matador. Matterhorn.
Yeah, because she had to.
Yeah.
Because she had to be by herself.
Because she had to be by like her. She wasn't by herself, but she had to be by herself. She couldn't sit next to anyone.
Yeah.
So she was like, she goes, "Mom, am I going to be okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Are you sure?" I was like, I'm positive, Phoenix. Like, I'm confident you're going to be okay.
I wasn't okay
Why?
because I had heard her dad earlier say that he don't want to ride it because it makes his back hurt. And then when I said, "Now,"
Oh yes, I heard him.
I said, "Now I understand," because
Because those jerks. Yeah, because his child was like, "Oh yeah, are you gonna go on?" He said, "No, baby, I can't do that ride." She was like, "Why?" He was like, "Because it makes my back hurt."
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, "Not you turning down the ride." He said, "I don't feel like dealing with them damn back pains tomorrow."
I get it.
That's when I realized I was like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm a
And
part of the
people got to
parent club
understand
now."
that this is the last thing I'm gonna say about Disney because they ain't paying us. People got to understand that Disney. What people don't talk about is the fitness you get when you go there too, because you're gonna walk about 8,000 miles,
Mhm.
so you're gonna get your steps in.
Yep.
Some-
Don't look at me like.
Some of us gonna get our steps in.
Don't look at me like that. Okay, really quick. He's looking at me like that because we went, like he said, we've been to Disney 3 times, right? We've gone every single week. This last week when we went, I told him, I was like, I'm getting a scooter. And he was like, you don't need a scooter. And I was like, I do need a scooter because my heel spur hurt. And he was like, you don't. And he was like, Anisha, please don't get a scooter. And I was like, I'm not going to wake up and the back of my right heel hurting. So I don't know what to tell you. But it's really rich coming from someone who had to take 3 breaks because you were talking about your feet was hurting and you were exhausted.
Because
And
I
was
had
like,
to carry.
I was like, let's keep going because I got my scooter, so I'm good. My feet didn't hurt today at all.
My feet was exhausted because I had to carry everything. I had to be the navigator.
Carry what? We had a basket. You put your backpack in the basket of my scooter. What did you carry, sir?
I had to be the navigator. I had to carry the good looks in the family.
Okay. Now you see how he do? You see how he do? He talked all that crap. And then when we were standing in line.
Real quick. I said I wasn't going to say anything else. But shout out to the gumbo at Tiana's place.
Did you like it?
It was actually really good.
Yeah, I actually liked my shrimp and grits too. But don't try to deter me from what I was saying. Yeah. He was complaining. He was like, he goes, oh, I just want to sit down. And I purposely ignored the comment.
Yeah.
Because part of me was going to be like, babe, do you want to like sit in the chair? Just really, really quick, take a load off. Because me and Andy watched a whole family take turns in a scooter because everybody's back and feet were hurting. Well, when he said his back or his feet was hurting, he was like, oh, I just really need to sit down. My feet are killing me. I was just
that's because yesterday, when we went yesterday, that was the busiest day we had went.
Yeah, and because there was no reason to have it on the last 2 weeks.
All the lines were long. Mm-hmm. So it was like I was on my feet more than the first 2 visits.
No,
yeah, I was.
I don't think you were.
I was.
Yeah, but shouts out to like the fact too, like if you could take the cart, we went. What was the ride? We got to go straight to the Matterhorn. Yeah, the Matterhorn. That was pretty cool. But yeah, I was like, I'm not gonna be dealing with my heel spur hurting because of all the traffic was a little bit more intense than it was in the previous 2 weeks. So I was like, you can call me what you want to. You can say what you want to about me. I'm gonna be on my scooter. But yeah, so all in all, it was a really good visit. We had a good
time.
Great Disney trip. So all that was good.
Anytime my baby smiles, I'm having a good time.
Right.
I'm talking about my daughter, not my wife. Because sometimes she smiles, she being a menace when she's just smiling. But when my daughter smiles, it's a good time.
Okay.
I love her to death.
So yeah. But we're excited to get back to it today. We're excited that we got
another one.
Yeah, get back to recording today because I missed you, and like this is time that we get to be together uninterrupted. So
y'all should be happy that we here recording because we almost watched From all day.
Oh my god!
Because we get it.
We're only 2 episodes in, but it was so hard. I was like, we could probably squeeze out another episode, and he was like, we really do need to record. I was like, you're right. Like when you're right, you're right. Like.
And I'm going to get my egg rolls later, so
yeah. So I was just like, you gotta keep grinding. If it's something you want, you got to keep going. Yeah. So thank you for not falling into my trick of watching one more episode.
Oh yeah, she tried to seduce me, guys.
I'm kind of proud of you that you fought me off because I pulled out some tricks.
She tried to seduce me.
And he was like,
Get your ass up. We got to do it.
I was like, I said, are you turning me down? Really?
I am.
He turned me down. Like being honest, I was a little offended.
That's fine.
A little offended. So don't be like I told him when he turned me down. I said, don't be trying to pursue me tonight.
As much as you
do not try to pursue me tonight. I do not reject you. Please stop lying to the people. I do not. Really? You rejected me because you were like, you thought that I was using it as a ploy to not record.
Yeah, you were.
I wasn't.
If we would have went through, I would have been asleep. And we wouldn't be recording. Okay.
Okay, so let's
and
hop
you do
into
reject me because I was talking sweet nothings in your ear at Disney.
You were not talking sweet. You were saying disgusting things in my ear. They were not sweet. They were downright disgusting. And you were doing it on purpose.
Did it make you feel special?
No, it made me feel disgusted.
But I was talking. I was saying sweet things.
It wasn't sweet. It was disgusting. So disgusting that I can't even repeat it on air.
I thought it was sweet.
It wasn't. Okay, so we're going to get back into it. So we have a video today.
A video?
A video. So I want to hear your reaction.
We're going to react to a lot of it today.
Right. All right, here we go.
A divorce because they rather change partners than change themselves. The single phase, I think it's perfection versus construction. I think that's what's really hurting, especially millennials and Gen Z, is we're looking at perfection and finished products versus works in progress.
I agree with
You're
that.
gonna need a lot of grace. No matter, you can have exactly who God wants for you, and you still gonna need grace. You need to be a good forgiver. If you are a bad forgiver, marriage is gonna be hard for you. If you keep records of wrong, marriage is gonna be hard for you. If you can know the dirt about somebody, one of the hardest parts of marriage, I think, is they know all of your flaws and they're correcting you right now. You know all of theirs, but you're wrong and they're right. I know everything toxic about you, Ryan, and you know everything toxic about me, and I'm calling you out right now. And I can't say, girl, but you did this. You're right, babe. You know how much maturity that takes? And some people divorce because they rather change partners than change themselves.
What do you think?
I think he'll spin a lot of facts.
Right. Agreed.
A lot of
Agreed.
facts. A lot of facts. I think this people. My standpoint on that is that I don't think that you perfected life until your life is almost over, because things are ever changing. So you can have a good head on your shoulders and a good way to go about things, but nothing is really perfected because of the constant change and the constant variables. Because through each stage in life, we change. We change mentally. We change physically. Women, especially women with y'all hormones, y'all constantly changing.
Good point.
You know, so it's not. I don't think no one's a complete package when you first meet them.
I don't think no one. Yeah, I
You
agree. I
know,
don't think no one's a
I
complete
think that
package.
it's more so along the lines of we're compatible and committed,
Mhm.
right? So we're compatible and then we're committed to maintaining this and growing this into something that can be perfect.
Mhm.
You know, that we're
Perfect for us.
yeah, right. We're
Mhm.
working towards that perfection for each other. And it's gonna like you said, it's gonna take a lot of maturity, because I think the biggest thing I've had to learn, and was something I still struggle with, is a lot of times I have to take myself out of the equation and do what's best for, the collective. Because a lot of times is I do believe that it's the selfish acts that hinder growth. So it's you have to put your you have to put your wants and needs aside for what's better for the collective. And I think that, again, me personally, I feel like that's what's important. And being a good man, being a good father, being a good provider, you have to sacrifice your necessary personal wants for what's best for
Mhm.
the family unit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to understand that it's Tuesday to you, but it's your childhood. It's
Mhm.
their childhood. It's like you have to understand that, yeah, you just work 12 hours a day, but your wife needs part of you, your daughter needs part of you. And it's like you have to expend yourself to the point to where you have to be in a position where you're mentally prepared to give more than you receive.
Yeah.
So you have to go into everything with an open hand and not closed fist.
Right. And I think the part that I liked the most, what he said, is that you have to be a good forgiver.
Yes.
You have to be a person that gives grace. I think when you say sacrificing yourself or sacrificing your wants and your needs for the greater good, yes, I do think that is true. I think both parties experience that, but I do think that it's not something that like, how can I put this? I don't think it's something that has to be a constant. Does that make sense? Because your
Well, no,
wants,
you have to.
like, I think I hate the word like trying to find the balance, because I honestly believe that there's not like a
There's
real
no
thing of
balance.
balance, but trying to find maybe a good median to be comfortable with, because I do think that your wants and needs
Mhm.
are important, because your joy,
Mhm.
not just your happiness, but your joy is important, so that you can be an effective partner to your children, or an effective
Yeah,
partner for your spouse.
I agree, and I would say for me personally, that's something I had to learn to do. And every now and again, I go against all logic and just do something for myself that makes me
Mm,
happy.
mhm.
Like, most recently, I would probably say it was buying NCAA football. Like, it makes me so happy.
I can't.
But
Um,
it's doing little things like that. Like, I
yeah.
sometimes I have to. This is probably a gift and a flaw. I feel like I have to reward myself for continuing to do the things I do, because it's like sometimes, like, yeah, I get a level of gratification seeing the house run properly, seeing the smiles on your guys' face, seeing you guys happy with the day to day. But it sometimes it's like, well, I need to do something for me,
Yeah.
like so that I'm included in the happiness,
Right. That's why I always try to make a point to say, like, you shouldn't feel guilty for doing something for yourself, right? Like, I always tell you that even with myself, like, I'm not going to feel guilty for doing something for
Yeah,
myself
that's you.
because
That's you.
I shouldn't have to. But it's because I try to practice that, right?
Yes.
Because life is also meant to be enjoyed. Life is not meant to be stressed out all the time. It's not meant to be anxious all the time. It's not meant to feel like you're like, why am I living? Like,
Mhm.
I honestly believe that it's not meant to be that way. And even when I do have my moments where I'm kind of in that dark hole and I'm in that pit, I try to have my anchor so that I can remind myself, like, this is not all of life. It's just a part of life, right? And so I'm
Right.
not going to feel guilty for either doing something that's going to help my mental or doing something that's going to help my physical, or even if that's, as something as useless as buying something material. I'm not going to feel guilty for trying to take care of myself in any way that I see is beneficial for me. But going back to what he was saying about people rather divorce than to change themselves, and talking about how when your partner comes to you and is pretty much telling you A, B, and C about things that you aren't doing, and you want to become essentially retaliatory and tell them that they're not doing A, B, and C either, which I know we touched on a few weeks back
Mhm.
about being able to take the criticism that your partner is giving you or the feedback that your partner is giving you
Mhm.
and not trying to get defensive and rebuttal with all of the things that they're not doing. And I do think, like how he said, that takes a certain level of maturity.
Definitely.
And it does take a certain level of maturity, and it does take work, which is where the patience, the grace, and the forgiveness comes in, right? Because sometimes it is hard to hear when your partner is telling you something where you
Sometimes,
lack.
all the time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's
It's
hard.
hard to hear, but people, I do agree with what he said when he says people would rather divorce than to change
Yeah.
themselves. So,
I think it's hard for people to grasp that sometimes you're the problem.
right, or that not necessarily that you're the problem, but you're
Or you're
not
the
doing everything
right.
that the
You're the
picture perfectness you have of yourself.
or sometimes you're the catalyst for the problem.
Right.
Or sometimes is you're getting this reaction or this activity from your partner because of the things that that you set in place,
Mhm.
and because of how you've been moving.
Mhm.
Sometimes you are, excuse me, sometimes you are the reason for the outcome.
Mhm.
And that takes a level of maturity because sometimes even me personally, sometimes I have to step back and say, okay, if this is the outcome I want, how do I address my wife or my family?
Mhm. Like,
To-
what's the best
What's the
approach?
best approach? Because I can't just come in here and say, yeah, 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 we're doing this. I don't care what you know what I'm saying? I can't approach it that way.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to come in and have a game plan and lay down the roadmap to and lead them there. Now, granted, if it's something that I feel that's like, considering your safety, then yeah, I'll come in with the full force of the foot being put down, and this is what it is.
Mhm.
But even that, I understand in that, like, I'm gonna get pushback.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get pushback. So I think part of being not even a husband, but just part of being a leader is you have to understand and how to communicate and how to get your people to effectively respond to what you
Mhm.
need them to do, right?
Mhm.
So I understand that I can't use certain words will trigger you.
Yeah.
Certain words will trigger our daughter,
Mhm.
right? Even certain phrases, right?
Right.
So I have to be careful on how I personally maneuver around certain things to achieve it. And for me, that takes a lot of maturity, especially because I come from an era where as the figure of authority, you just do what I say. Like I
Mhm.
don't there's no explanation and
Right.
and
Right.
or reason. I don't have to
It's just because
explain.
I said so.
Right. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So that to me is hard. And also on the flip side of that, when you come to me with your grievances, to sit there it does take a lot to sit there and not
Get a little defensive
get defensive,
or
not
offended.
not feel attacked, and not want to look at you and say, well, wow, well, since we're on the subject of what people ain't doing,
Since we're talking about what people don't do around
you
here,
know, let me let my list off right now, you know.
because I didn't know you had something in your back
Right,
pocket.
right. But what I have learned is that when you come to me with your grievances, that really is just a time for me to listen, right? Because you're coming to me because it's gotten to a point, and then this is how I think about it. You're coming to me with your grievance because it's gotten to a point where it's affecting you too negatively, and now something must be done, right?
Mhm.
So in that instance, I try to listen and I try to be mindful of what you're saying, and I also try to be mindful of, okay, even if I have grievances with her, I'm not to that point yet. So
Yeah,
this is not the time
to bring it
to
up.
bring it up,
Hmm.
because a lot of times for us in particular, what I've noticed is that by fixing your grievances, it's
Somehow fixes
it
yours.
fixes my it fixes mine, right? And so
Somehow you get what you need
right.
out of it too.
So it becomes a level of where we just were not communicating effectively enough in
Mhm.
the in I guess in the on the topic or the
Yeah,
situation, whatever the case may be. Because a lot of times, like we said before, our day to day is just so hectic, and
yeah.
a lot of times we're just passing strangers.
Well, yeah, because we have a schedule and we have a
Right.
routine, and you get lost in the schedule and you get lost in the routine. And then you look up and you're like, okay, well, he hasn't been doing A, B, and C. And I've only noticed that because I'm feeling this
Right.
way. You know what I mean? Like he hasn't made the initiative to schedule a date night, or he hasn't made the initiative to finish the projects that he said he was going to finish. And now it's like, that's starting to get to me. So
Mhm.
now I have to bring it up to you. I was curious as to when he said that he thinks it's mainly an issue with millennials and Gen Zs, right?
Well, see, they keep telling
So
me I'm a millennial, but I don't. I identify as a boomer
okay, you're not a boomer though.
because
You
I
can
because
you
I
can in
do
a world where you can identify as what you like, you're still not a boomer.
because I like doing old people stuff.
But I think it's really curious that it's this has been like a thing
Yeah.
amongst our generations. Like what do you think has really changed from when our grandparents or our parents were going through marriages and
I can tell you exactly what
having 40,
changed.
50, and 60 years worth of marriage, and
Okay.
then now it's just like people staying married a hot 2 second.
Okay. I
And
was
I should have did.
right. You really shouldn't have. Um, I think what the issue is that not necessarily us, but I would say the people born around, like I would say 97, 98, and after, right? They were raised in the era of instant gratification because the internet was in full swing. So everything
Oh, the
became
people born in.
born,
Okay.
born,
Okay.
right?
Hmm.
Because we lived before the internet. The internet got
It was,
introduced
yeah,
to
because
us,
YouTube started in 2005 and I graduated in
right? So
2005.
okay, you ain't gonna age yourself.
I don't care.
So
I'm
it's like
37. I'm proud to be
so
37.
we were kind of like we were kind of like raised. We were later on in life when the internet got into full swing, and the MySpace and the Black Planet, and I'm now aging myself.
Yeah.
Then then the
Not Black
Facebook and stuff,
Planet.
right? So we were kind of like age. We were kind of like adults, and we got put, and the internet got better. Like the internet was a thing
Yeah.
for us in high school, but it was kind of like just a research type thing, and then
Like
it
we
got
were just like in AOL
right,
chats and stuff like
right.
that.
Then
We
it
weren't
got
like we
better.
weren't scrolling.
It wasn't what it was now.
Yeah.
We now living into the day where the kids, like I said, the kids that born in the late '90s, early 2000s, by the time they hit middle school, everything was at their fingertips.
Yeah, that makes
Because
sense. And then we were coming into it later. So then now we were being
right,
introduced to new ideas
right,
and sharing ideas quicker. And you started seeing at a
right,
faster rate, like,
right,
I don't have to have a traditional
right,
relationship like my parents did
right.
or my grandparents did. I don't have to live like this, or I don't have to put up with what I think is a stressful relationship.
I think that affect everything as a whole, because
Yeah,
even like think about it, like we grew up where we had to go to Blockbuster or Hollywood Video
right. Or Redbox.
to get a
Gosh,
movie,
Redbox.
right? So you had to leave your home,
Or
come
remember
back,
when you can get the CD, the DVDs from Netflix
mail to you,
delivered?
mail
Uh-huh.
right, right.
Mhm.
So but now it's a day where it's like, oh,
As long as you have a phone.
once it's on streaming, you just click a button,
Yeah.
it's there.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a lot of these people nowadays, they've grown up. So it's like, think about like people who were born, excuse me, like people who were born like 2010, 2015, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
The people
Mhm.
who are now like the teenagers now, right? Or
Yeah.
and the people born in 2005, right? They're so used to everything being instant
Yeah.
to where it's like
It's
they
inhibited
don't they
their
right,
habits.
they don't they never had to go through school without a calculator in their pocket.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? They
Right.
never had to
What
worry
was it?
about
That T6000?
right. They never had to go to the library and check out research books and actually read, read through
Yeah.
pages of books to. So it's
Mhm.
like and also it's a day where everyone's connected. So now you can be in Timbuktu and know what's going on in whatever city,
Yeah.
right? And you can have quote unquote associates or whatever friends online, and you can communicate with anybody in an
Yeah.
instant. So I think that's part of it. And so and then people also don't understand or fail to realize rather that the internet is not a real place. That you
But for them, it almost is
right,
because that's the environment that they've grown up in.
right,
So I think what pretty much what you're saying is it's changed our habits.
right.
Over time it's changed our habits, and I think where the millennials get caught up in that is like you said, we got onto it a little bit later in life, and we started getting into it during our pretty much during our dating
Yeah.
years. Right? So then when you started getting all of these dating apps that started popping up, because
Yeah.
remember we were in chat
Yeah,
rooms, we were doing things like that, but now we can scroll.
because
Now we can
before
meet people quicker. Like, you know what I'm
because
saying?
before you pretty much ended up dating someone you either went to school with or someone that was in the same
Yeah.
city as you
Yeah, like most of
or
our
someone
friends,
that was
everyone
a
either
right.
married the person they were dating in high
Right.
school.
But now you can be you can be in LA and be dating somebody in Culver City
Yeah.
and in high school because you guys are connected because
Mhm.
now or whatever the case may be
Yeah.
are now you've graduated, you go to USC, but you're talking to somebody that
Yeah.
at LSU, and you got, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
But I
now it's
think
like
oh, go ahead.
the net is so much wider now,
Right.
right? And so and then this whole facade online of people thinking that he's perfect or she's perfect. No one's
Well,
perfect.
that's because they've been able to create a facade,
Right.
right? So, and then I think it also has a lot to do with people. The internet has allowed people to share their ideas and share things that they've thought about that they probably didn't think they would get an opportunity to say or say out loud.
Hmm.
And I think when it comes to relationships, because everyone has like a platform and you can sit behind your keyboard and you
Hmm.
don't necessarily have to be in a room full of people saying your ideas out loud. It's easier for you to sit behind the keyboard and make suggestions or say like you don't have to be in a monogamous relationship,
Hmm.
or this is a new way of dating, or who wants to be in a relationship if you're not happy. If you're not happy, that's a easy
Well, that's
gateway to say you
yeah.
can get out. And there's billions of people on these apps that I can go find, and
But
I can be in a new relationship in a hot second.
see, that's one thing that needs to be taught. You're not gonna be happy every day.
Right.
You're not gonna be happy.
Right.
In any relationship that's gonna last, it's gonna be ups and downs.
Well, you have
You're
to grow.
you're gonna go through times of turmoil.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying just like things like infidelity. No, I'm saying like you're literally gonna just be develop into different people over
Mhm.
time because
Mhm.
you may meet someone and they're for you in that moment.
Right.
But then you evolve into something else and they no longer fit your plan.
Yeah.
That's a real thing in life. That's
So
why I
hold
always
on
feel like
before you go on. Sorry to cut you off. So now for me, that makes me question, how do you navigate when people are married, and as we've always said, people are constantly changing, right? And
mhm,
I'm a firm believer that people are in your life for a season sometimes.
mhm.
Sometimes people are only in your life to teach you a lesson or there for a season. But
Whew, you've
when
been
you're
here a long
married,
season.
but when you're what?
Nothing.
Goodbye. But when you're married and you're going through that transitional period where you have someone who at first you're like, oh my gosh, I could spend the rest of my life with this person. Like all of the qualities that attracted me to you, I'm just like, yep, this is it. He checks this, he checks this, he checks this. And then as we're doing life, it's like those core values are still there, but the things that originally drew me in are starting to veer in a different direction. So
Mhm.
for you, I'm sure you experienced the same thing with me. Some of the things that you probably found attractive in me or that drew you in, I've
You still
started to
got that
kind of
ass.
steer. Goodbye. I've started to steer a little bit off that path. So what do you do when you either feel like your partner is growing in a direction that you don't like or that you feel like you can't get on page with, because it's kind of going back to what he said, people would rather divorce than to change themselves.
I would say that you have to understand that things can be different and the same at the same time, right? Just because just because they go down a path, that doesn't all that doesn't necessarily mean that we still can't be together, right?
Hmm.
Because now you've taken on a certain interest or whatever that I'm not necessarily interested in, right? Because I also think that it's important for each person to have their thing,
Right.
right?
Right.
Because the thing is like you don't necessarily have to be interested in all of your partner's interests,
Hmm.
but you have to be attentive when they talk about it. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? So it's like for instance, like you have many things I don't really care about. Many,
Thanks, babe.
many, right? But I will sit here and listen to you talk
Yeah.
about them, and I would see it, right? But in a long-term relationship, that helps because now that gives us something to converse about.
Yeah.
Because when you've been together for as long as we have, it's like my childhood stories,
Hmm.
all
Hmm.
my funny stories. It's like, and great things are not happening to me every day, so I can't come home and tell you a great story.
Hmm.
Because my life
Hmm.
for the most part at work is pretty mundane. So it's like I can't sit here and tell you all this yada yada yada, right? So it's like if I have my interest, you have your interest, and then we can talk about each other's interests. Now, if you start to maybe take a path in which I don't necessarily agree with because the way it's going to affect the family,
Or like a personality change.
well, see, with and again, like that's something you'd have to address personally because I don't necessarily think that like a personality change or like a change in habits is necessarily a bad thing.
Hmm.
I would more so say like maybe they just got to a point where now they're comfortable doing this. Like they always had it
Right.
in them. That there's right
Yeah.
because I always feel like once you've been with someone for a long period of time, whatever drew you to that person is still there.
Right.
Right.
At its
Right.
core. Yeah.
So then it's up to you to weigh the options of is this worth me hanging
Yeah.
on to?
Right.
Right? Because me personally, I don't see anything that you could do to make me walk away. Like
Hmm.
any like personality change that would make me walk away.
Hmm.
I would just chop it up to, oh, that's just Kanisha.
Yeah, or that's just like you evolving as a person, right?
Yeah.
Because we are always evolving as a person, and the things that interest me now or my thought process on a lot of things
Mhm.
will change as I
And,
age, as I get
and
older.
and again, as long as it's not hindering the household, I'm
Yeah.
will not have a problem with.
I think for me, I think what I would say to myself if I see you going through a change that is kind of putting me off a little bit, I would ask myself, what is it about his change that is causing me to
Right.
react this way? Right? Is it something where I feel like he's going to be harmful to himself, or is it something where maybe I'm being selfish
Yeah.
because I don't want the change and I just want to keep him in this little box
Mhm.
and I want you to always just be this way because it's what I like.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, your happiness also matters to me.
And
You know
that,
what
and
I'm
that's what
saying?
I was going to say.
So I think what it is like you have to ask yourself like, what is it about my partner that's changing that is giving me such a discourse with it, right?
Mhm.
Then you look at yourself and then you kind of
You
work through it
you
that way.
you also got to be careful too because don't go out here if your partner's making a change and you make an ultimatum and he chooses that change over you.
Well, don't do that. I don't. I think people need to be real mindful of ultimatums. Like you got to be real mindful about that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. So I
Why did
think
you have to talk like that? You got to be real
you got to be
mindful.
real mindful about
What was that about?
it. I don't know. But going back to what he said, people people will always do, I feel like subconsciously, because you know how like your
Mhm.
trainer would always say, your brain will always default to what's easiest for you
Mhm.
because your brain does not want to cause you pain, confusion, or
Mhm.
anything like that. So when you get into relationships and things are not going as planned or as you think they should be,
Mm-hmm.
your first default is to just be like, this
Go
isn't
back.
for me.
Yeah.
And I think another thing that people also need to be comfortable in is the monotony of things. You need to be
Absolutely.
I think it's like the boredom part
Absolutely.
of marriage and relationship that gets people, because every single day is not going to be fun and exciting. When you get into that loop where, like how we were talking about earlier, the schedule, it becomes
Mm.
monotonous. It becomes like it's just a schedule.
Yeah.
We become roommates. We have those periods where things are like up and down. Then we get back on the flow and it's like, okay, like don't forget, let's reel this back in. We need our
Mhm.
date nights, we need our bubble time, and then we go back into the schedule, the
Yeah.
monotony of things. That
Yeah.
so when people are like, "But are you happy?" I don't have to be. I don't have to be.
See, the thing.
Overall,
See,
if you ask me, like, do you like being married? Overall, yes. For me, 10 out of 10 would
but are you
recommend.
happy?
I am
Oh,
happy
okay.
overall, but am I happy every single day? I'm
Oh,
not.
hell no.
I'm not happy every day. Is
Wasn't
there
happy 2
periods where
days
we
ago.
go through where we're not on the same page, and it could be that random Tuesday or
I
Thursday somebody be like, "Are you happy?" And I'd be like, "No," but that don't change the fact that I'm still married.
people I feel like
That changes nothing.
people oftentimes they confuse happiness with love, because you can be
Yeah.
madly deeply in love with someone and be miserable.
Yeah.
And you have to understand that, I think for me personally, love is what drives me to keep me, founded
Yeah.
in the times of unhappiness,
Mhm.
because I understand that if I'm unhappy, it's only going to be for a season, right? It's only going to be for a short period of time. And most of the times when I'm unhappy, it's just because we're just disconnected.
Right.
We're not, and
Right.
and that's due to the schedule. That's due
The
to
monotony,
right,
the everyday, but
because the like we said a couple pods ago, like people don't people don't often talk about the shift in the relationship dynamic once the children are involved, and how much time you lose with your partner once the children are
mm,
involved.
mhm.
And I think, like I say all the time, children are the problem.
Goodbye. They are not.
You're
Goodbye.
you're living your life, you're happy,
He's on one day, you're out there,
right?
you're living your life, you're club
Right.
hopping, then boom.
You're not even club hopping. You're out there, you're living your life. You're spending all this time with the person of your dreams, the one you love, and you guys are, and everything is great. It's nothing but giggles and smiles,
Yeah.
and great sex because you got time,
Yeah.
and then you think, then somebody has the dumb idea, let's have a baby.
Goodbye.
Let's have a baby.
And that person was you.
It was me.
Okay, but you know what? That just got me to thinking too. Like before there's kids involved, it's easy to
Yes.
be able to focus on each other, right?
Yes.
That portion of life, it's easy for us to have great sex because it's uninterrupted. We're both like head over heels. It's something you look forward to.
Oh.
It's like I don't have to worry about
Can't wait to
going
clock
do
out.
right, do this, that, and the third. Or it's
finna
like a
break her
date
back.
night, or you guys are laying in bed and it's like, oh, let's go out and let's go get something to eat. That's
Before-
easy.
Before kids, every night is date night.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. That's easy. But then as kids are introduced,
They take everything.
kids will bring out of you and showcase things in you that you weren't even aware of with yourself. So
Facts.
now you're going into a space where things about yourself are now being exposed. Your habits are being exposed. How you carry yourself is being exposed. Your emotional state is being exposed. You could be a person where you thought you had all this under control. You
Mhm.
could be a person where you're like, I did good in life. I got a great job. I got a great home. I have a great relationship. Me and my husband are on the same page. Everything is good, right? And I kind of feel like that's how things were like with us. Everything was great. Like finances were great. We were stable. Everything was fine. So then you get like this feeling like the only thing that's missing that we haven't experienced together is being parents. So like, let's do it. Then you interject a baby. Then that's when I feel like that's when love really has
Gets tested.
like love not necessarily gets tested,
No, it gets
because when
tested.
I say like love, I feel like love is also effort, right? So
Most definitely.
you went from this situation where it was effortless. It was effortless. We
Yeah.
went to work, we came home, we went out, we did a little bit of traveling. That was effortless because it was just us, right? We didn't have to consider anybody else. It was effortless. Now we have a child, and it's like our attentions, our focuses, our energy,
Mhm.
our love, like our mental status, everything is trying to be poured into a
Right.
child because now we're overconsumed with making sure that they're being raised in a good environment, making sure they eat healthy, making sure they're around great kids, making sure they go to a great school,
Mhm.
making, all of these things. And then you start to lose focus of
Yeah.
what was effortless for us in
Right.
the beginning.
And
So,
then you start to feel like, "Oh, they not making time for me." No, it's not.
right.
It's we're not making
Making time
time
for
for
each other.
right.
And that's where I say, like, that's love is effort. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? And it's the reason why I can get through the the monotonous times, or I can get through the times where I'm not as happy,
Mhm.
is because I still am willing to put in the effort. And
Right.
I think when people have moments when they're unhappy in their relationship and unhappy in their marriage, it's going to happen.
It's gonna happen.
It's going to happen. It's perfectly, I feel like it's perfectly normal, but I also do believe that you also have a responsibility to your happiness, because you have a responsibility to your person,
Mhm.
you have a responsibility to your child, but you have a responsibility to yourself. So
Even
if you,
even even when you're mad.
even when you're mad. So if things are not good between us and I'm just not happy, okay, let me break this down. What's really going on? Because my brain is already telling me a story. Your brain's already telling you a story. We're not on the same page. The interactions we're starting to have, you get an attitude, I get an attitude because you got an attitude. I'm snappy because I can have a snappy comeback. And then it just irritates you. And then things just keep going, right? So then
Mhm.
it's like, step back. What's going on with me? Okay, I'm not happy. I'm not feeling joy right now. What do I need to do to get myself
Mhm.
straight so that my interactions with you could also be better?
Yeah.
Because it's not just a matter of you making me happy. If I solely relied on you making me happy,
Mhm.
I wouldn't be
But that's the
I
thing.
wouldn't be happy.
I can't I I
You're
can't
human.
I can't be the source of your happiness
No.
and then
No.
still carry my emotional load.
Right, because you're always human. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, you are someone I do trust. You are someone I do love dearly. But at the end of the day, you are still human, and
I'm flawed.
yeah, you will fail me at something. Like not in just a like a bad sense, but you will fail me at some point
Mhm.
because you are human and because you do have your own human emotions that you are going through.
Mhm.
So we also have a duty and responsibility to ourselves and our own happiness. And when I can get myself straight, that also puts me in a
Mhm.
better headspace to come to you so that I can get us back on a good
Mhm.
page, or engage you in a way where you can put your defenses down and you can come into the conversation and we can actually talk about it, and then we can all start working towards it
Right.
and making a plan to getting ourselves back on track, because it sometimes it feels like a little bit of a roller coaster, because we've had those. We'll have a great good vulnerable conversation and then we're like quote unquote back in love. then
I never fall in love with
and
you.
then you know what I mean. And then we go through the stage again where it's the schedule.
Yeah.
Every day is the same. Okay. I get your lunch ready, feed you guys breakfast, get her lunch ready, get her to school. You go to work. I come home. I clean. I run errands. I do the things I got to do for myself. I go pick her up. I take her to practice. You come home. You eat dinner. We don't talk. We get it. And then it goes in a loop.
Mhm.
And then both of us realize, oh, damn. Yeah, yeah, I'm married.
Yeah.
Let's get back to that, you
Yeah.
know? So it's perfectly normal, but I just think that you have to give each other grace, like he said.
Mhm.
You have to be able to listen to each other
Mhm.
and really take the advice and the feedback that your partner gives you, because you don't experience you. You know what I'm saying? You know how I
Yeah.
always say
Yeah.
that to you?
Yeah.
I have always said to him, "You don't experience you, so you don't know how you can be or how your temper is in certain situations. You don't experience you. You don't walk around with a double U
Right.
and feeding off of your
Right.
energy, right? So when I come to you and I'm telling you, "Hey, I the way you reacted, that was a little over the top," or the way you reacted came off very like very angry or something like that, and it's like, no, I wasn't being that way." You don't know because you weren't on the receiving end of that. So when your partner is coming to you and giving their grievances, it's really important, as hard as it is, like you said earlier,
Mhm.
it's hard. It is
It's
hard.
one
It's
of the hardest things
hard.
you do in
It's one
life.
of the hardest things. And especially when it comes to something like either your behavior or your physical appearance, it's hard. But you have to trust and know that if this is a person who loves you, and the person who is in love with you, and you trust, lean, and depend on your love and this person, then what they're telling you can only be coming from a place of like concern and love. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
if this is someone who I have said that I trust you enough to allow you to be the leader in our relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and that I have made a conscious decision to bear children with you,
Mm-hmm.
and I have made a conscious decision to entangle myself with you. I know you're gonna laugh at entanglement. Entangle myself with you financially. Like I made that decision. I was conscious when I made those decisions to wrap my life and intertwine my life with you.
Mm-hmm.
So when you come to me and you say, "Hey, babe, like you really starting to concern me with such and such," or you really starting to concern me with whatever the case is, my first instinct is to be like, "I know you fucking lying." You know what I mean? But if I have trusted myself so much in your care, and I have entrusted you with my feelings, I've entrusted you with my mental, my everything, my child, everything.
That ass.
If I've entrusted you with that, why can't I trust that what you're telling me is truthful and it's coming from a place that you care?
Right.
Even if it's something like physical you don't like. That would be hard to hear, but it's like you're still my partner.
I don't like the way your toenails. I'm sorry.
Good. Goodbye. It would be hard to hear, but it would help me to hear
Right.
too, because you're in this relationship too, and I want you to benefit from our marriage just like I want to benefit from
But
our
I
marriage.
feel like your partner should be the one person who can check you and you not feel some
right,
way.
right.
That should be the one criticism you accept.
Yeah, that sounds good in theory, but
In
this
theory,
is
yeah.
also a person like, if I came to you and told you like, "Oh, you being bald is not attractive to me." That
I'll
would
go get me a hairpiece. Don't worry, baby. What you want, a Gumby? You want braids? You want dreads? What you want?
But
What you
that
want?
would be hard. That would be a little hard to hear, right? Because now your brain is going to start telling you all different kinds of stuff.
Yeah, 'cause
Your
you just
brain is going to start
you
being
just
like,
kidding me about something I can't control.
right. But then your brain is also going to be like, so all those times she told me like I look good or whatever, she wasn't really thinking I look
Lying her
good.
ass off.
Every time we're intimate now and she rubs my head, I'm thinking she wish she was rubbing hair. Like, you know what I mean? It's the truth.
But to the point of the video, I do think that people, instead of doing the work, they get out.
Because your brain is going to default to what's easiest, right? And then because you're going through a pit or you're going through an extended period of time, because these periods can last.
Oh, I know.
Oh, yes,
than 7
we know.
days.
They can. You know what? I am not talking about a menstruation. I can't. These periods of unhappiness or monotony can last, right? So you can start feeling as though I can't get off of me. You can start feeling as though like it's never going to end, so this must be the end. Right? This must be the end. I can't with you. Stop. You can start feeling like this must be the end because we haven't been on the same page in months, or we haven't had sex in months. Now listen, that's what I said. Listen.
What they do that at?
Listen.
I might give you 8 days.
Goodbye. But I just say that to say that it can be normal. It may not be normal for like real extended periods of time. You might need to try some intervention type deals. But it can be normal, and don't let something that is intended to be temporary
be permanent.
Exactly.
Okay.
Is all I'm saying. Put in the effort. If you love someone, love is effort. Put in the effort. If you are married, that is a commitment. Okay? Love is commitment. Love is effort. Love is grace. Love is forgiveness.
But let me ask you this. Somebody said that marriage should be like NBA contracts. We should choose really not to renew them after.
I heard that.
So do you want to use a player option, or
do it? Should I see if I can trade?
Yeah, see if you got something better out there.
No, not today. Not today. Not right now. I honestly wouldn't. I feel like for me, I wouldn't know how to date right now because I never had to really like outside of you. We dated obviously, but what I'm saying is like during my dating years, my earlier dating years, like my
According to your
earlier
father, I
20s,
kidnapped you.
if we weren't like married or together, and I had to date.
Mhm.
I'm sure at some point I would be able to get on board, but I honestly feel like I don't know how to go about dating.
Look
Like,
here, I'm gonna just tell you
w-
this. From what I've heard from my single friends, it ain't for
it's
me.
the pits.
It
I
ain't,
know.
it ain't for me.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
I would just
What
be
I've heard word on the street,
I would just be in the gym.
word on the street is we gonna have to tough it out. Word on the
No,
street
we
is
don't have to tough it out. You, if you want to leave, you can leave. I'm just so you know, if you leave, I'm gonna be by myself.
okay. I'm gonna be by myself.
Yeah, you ain't got you ain't got to worry about nobody beating Phoenix.
You ain't gotta worry about me.
What you? Me and Dad were just eating ice cream, watching TV.
Bye. Bye,
Who was
babe.
over there? Just me and Dad.
What is that statistic we heard this morning? It said 60% of married men who their wives, they consider their wives to be their best
Yeah.
friends, but 30% of women consider their husbands to be their best
Yeah.
friends. And it's because women cultivate and create more relationships than men do. And when men
More
get married,
friendships. More
yeah.
friendships.
And
yeah.
when men get married, it's just like
It's just
your wife, that's it.
it's a common thing. Most men have 2 to 3 really good friends
Yeah.
that they could call on, right?
Yeah.
And you know, if you have siblings, I have a lot of siblings I could call on. But like, yeah, you are my best friend. I tell you, look here, if you tell me, my wife know. Okay,
Goodbye. If you telling me, my wife knows.
my wife know.
So just know that every secret you tell me,
My wife know. If you tell me, my wife know.
goodbye.
If you tell me,
Goodbye.
my wife know.
Yes. But I like the point is I just want to say love is effort. I feel like that's what's hanging on with me right now.
All right.
Love is effort. And
It's
and
not the
here's the
loop.
thing. We don't know what the future holds, right?
It holds
Like
a loop.
goodbye. We don't know what the future
I just
holds.
thought
No
about
one has all the answers. I'm not saying that, you got to do what's right for you. At the end of the day, your life is your chance.
that's it.
So you have to do what you feel in your heart of hearts is best for you to do. And if that is you and your partner having a discussion and saying, hey, like, I don't think I want to put the effort in anymore, then do
Well,
what you got to do. But if you want to continue to put in the effort,
mm-hmm.
do what you got to
Do
do.
what you gotta do.
Do what you got to do.
You ain't gotta make the voice change. You doing the most.
You don't like when I say that? What if I talk like this?
You be single.
You wouldn't date me if I sound like this?
Now you sound like you got something in your throat.
I can't. I can't. Okay. All right. Anyway. All right, guys. So let's just hop right on into our 2 cents.
You be so excited for these.
Who, me?
So excited.
I'm so excited. Okay. Let's see if I can read this one because the people write the way they talk.
And it'd be bad.
And it'd be tough.
You be struggling through it.
A struggle bus.
Struggle read.
Struggle. Okay.
Mhm.
But here we go. Am I the asshole for telling my husband that I will divorce him tomorrow because he doesn't clean anymore?
Mhm.
Okay. I'm at my wit's end. Everything changed after marriage and I couldn't tell you why. Our biggest problem is cleaning. My husband used to clean up after himself, but after marriage, he just completely stopped with no warning. We were dating for 3 years, engaged for 1, and now freshly married. We're 28 and 29. After we got married, my husband stopped cleaning. He wouldn't pick up after himself. He wouldn't do his agreed upon chores and suddenly became a slob. It was like he's been intentionally dirtying things up. I stopped doing all my housework out of the protest a month into our marriage, and I now live in complete and utter filth. I'm rarely home due to the mess. I part-time live with my sister at this point, and he doesn't even care. I come home only to sleep at night, and sometimes I don't even come home at all. It's like we aren't even married anymore, and it's draining my mental health to the point where I've had multiple breakdowns this month. I'm completely over it. I wanted to get married, but this is not the man I married. I would much rather be home where I belong, but I'm not a maid. The mess is as follows. Wet floors or wet food in the sink from throwing his plate in there, finished or not. Bugs, garbage, litter everywhere, puddles of mystery substances. The trash is never taken out. All his dirty laundry is dirty. Clothes unfolded, crumbs galore, takeout everywhere since he won't cook, dishes piled to the sky. I can guarantee you there's more, but I can't describe it right now. It's like he's a toddler. It's exactly like mommy isn't cleaning up, so he's tornadoing through the house and not caring. Before he would scrape his plate, rinse it and leave it. He would take the trash out and take the cans to the curb. He'd sweep, vacuum, and occasionally do laundry, and he would never ever eat in the bed. And now he does all that. A few hours ago, I told him that if he doesn't clean up tonight, then I'm divorcing him tomorrow. I said if I don't see some progress on the house, then we're over. He told me that I'm being an asshole for no reason and that cleaning is no longer his job. Mm. I nearly pooped a fucking blood vessel. Excuse me.
Was it pooped or popped?
It's popped, sorry. I nearly popped a fucking blood vessel. We didn't decide on that. He's telling me that I'm throwing everything away over pride and that all new marriages go through this transition. But bull fucking shit. He told his mom. She called me not too long ago and told me that I needed to calm down and reconcile. I really love my mother in law, and she's one of the most level headed people I know. Hence the reason I'm writing this post. She's making me wonder if divorce is too far because it's only a mess, but it's mess. She told me that we can reach a compromise, need to take a break and talk about it, but I truthfully don't want to. She reminded me of our good times and that life won't always be this way as it is now, but I'm feeling incredibly skeptical. I cannot stand filth and I can't live like this either from him. Am I the asshole?
I'm gonna say yes.
That she's the asshole?
I'm gonna say yes.
Oh,
And
do tell.
I'm only gonna say yes because your problem can be fixed by a service. You can just pay a maid service, fix the problem. Now, what took me out is that he said he's married.
And it's not his job
Not
anymore.
his job. So it sounded like he had a conversation that you wasn't there for.
It sounded like he had a game plan in his head
That you were
that
not
he never
aware
let
of.
you in on.
That you were not. He said, "I got a wife now."
Yeah, that's literally what he said. He said, I have a wife now, and that's not
I'm
my
not done.
responsibility. Nor am I'm not like, I don't see what the big deal is. Clean up the mess.
So I would say that right now you would be an asshole because it's like you've only been married like a month or a couple. It wasn't that long. You guys have been married, right? I understand you guys have been together 4 years, but the marriage hasn't been that long. So I would say that maybe have conversations, seek some counseling, let him get an outside view because a lot of times men are stubborn and we only see shit when our partner we only see what our partner means when we hear it from someone who's not our partner. That is a man thing.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't understand why he's so goddamn dirty, but I'm still,
Especially when he wasn't that way before.
what took me out was unknown substance. What?
Who knows? You know, things just start to mesh together when there's like
Right.
dirt and mess and all
So,
that stuff.
This to me clearly is a conversation needs to be had. I don't necessarily believe that divorce should be right away, but if
Mhm.
this is something that he's not willing to rectify, in which he should, if he loves you the way he says, he should be able to rectify this problem. But if not, then yeah, I would say then divorce him. But to divorce after,
Divorce it?
but I mean, but to give an ultimatum and a divorce and say, yeah, you kind of an asshole. You kind of you're throwing it. I mean, because I wouldn't have waited. Like I wouldn't have waited a couple months after. I would have told him day one, hey, what you doing with this?
Right.
Where? So you allowed the behavior to go on so long.
Well, she's like trying to protest by not cleaning it.
Right. It didn't help.
Right.
You should have had that conversation.
Okay, so first I would say I agree.
Hold on. Before you start, I want to aerate. I want to let the people know. Reiterate. Oh, I can't say that word.
Reiterate?
Yes. That word. That I don't do that around here.
Goodbye. You do if I ask you. You do if I ask you.
I don't have a chore jar.
You do if I ask you, and you take. I noticed that you only take initiative. Really, like if you're here with her, and you see that something needs to be done, you'll take initiative if I'm like gone or out or something like that.
Oh,
But you're
can't
not
be
like downright cleaning houses or cleaning the house and sweeping, mopping floors.
No.
No, you're not doing. You don't do any of
I don't
that.
do that.
And I mean, here's the thing. That's fine because that's what we've kind of settled into now.
Okay.
But that wasn't our life always, and
Going
just
forward,
like
it will be.
and just like before, when I get back into that working game,
You're not.
I am. When I get back into that working game, that won't be our life
I'm gonna
either.
get you fired at every job you go
Bye. That won't be our life either. But anyway, back to our 2 cents. I agree. I would have had to have a conversation.
to. Mhm.
And by him making that statement, because clearly they had a conversation because he made that statement to her. When he made that statement, I would make it like very clear. So are you telling me, so that I can understand this, you're telling me that now that we are married, you think and feel that all house cleaning and chores is my responsibility? And if his response is yes, my response would be no.
Or
my response would be I'm not okay with that. So now we need to come up with a game plan on how we're going to make a compromise, because I didn't get married just so that I could be your maid. I don't mind cleaning. And that's the thing. I'm sure she doesn't mind. Like, of course, if there's dishes in the sink, she'll stop by. But if you turned out to be a complete slob and you're purposely doing this because you think now you're finally in the situation where you're like, I'm excited because I literally can just do whatever the hell I want to around here, and she's just gonna walk behind me and clean it up. That's not gonna happen. So we need to come on the same page and figure out how we're gonna fix this, because I'm telling you now, this is not going to be an enjoyable relationship for the both of us if you think this is what's gonna happen.
I got the perfect compromise.
What's the compromise?
She hires a maid.
Okay, what if that's not in the budget?
Listen.
Okay.
She hires a maid to keep the house clean, and he pays all the bills.
And if he complains about it, then you can start cleaning up after yourself. Yeah, I like that too.
So she uses her check to pay the maid, and he take care of everything else.
Yeah, I would definitely take that route too, because if you rebuttal me and say I don't feel like I should have to clean up the house because I'm a married man, then I could say, you know what? I've already said my piece. You're not willing to come to a compromise? Bet. I will take care of it. Don't you worry.
I mean,
and when you see the maid coming in, the housekeeper, our male housekeeper.
Oh, okay.
Our
Getting
male,
spicy, ain't you?
our male housekeeper.
Okay.
Coming in, cleaning the house.
Half naked?
No.
Shirt
Coming
off?
in and cleaning the house.
Mr. Clean?
And don't you come to question me, how are we paying for this? You mean how you paying for this? I don't know how you paying for this, but you should figure out how you paying for it.
Well, he said cash or he said cash or ass, and I didn't have no cash on me, so.
Bye, Maurice. But yeah, I do think that it is something that can be discussed and that can be resolved. But the other part of that is he like hoodwinked her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because think about it this way.
I
had an old boss once before. Excuse me. I had an old boss once before who her husband was going to annul their marriage because she was not honest about the amount of debt she was in. And so when they got married and he got the gist and the real about how much debt she was in, he presented her with an annulment. And he was like, absolutely not. Like, you did not disclose that to me. And they had financial conversations. So I'm not sure what type of conversation around finances were had, but she was married and then was about to be annulled because her husband was like, no.
Nah, boo.
Nah, boo. Nah, boo. You thought you was finna get some coins over here? No. These are still my coins.
Mine.
Mine. So, but think about it in that way, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like the same idea. It's just that his is with cleaning.
Yeah.
Hers was just with money. You can't be out here tricking people like that. And then when they marry you, you be like, oh yeah, guess what? I'm a slob and I can't manage money.
No, I'm a slob now. I wasn't before.
Yeah, right.
Because I've showed you I'm capable.
Right. And if they were living together, she was just like, okay, life is going to be like this once we're married. He's not going to change next week.
Look here.
But this cat got married and changed the following Friday.
Sometimes that marriage license change people.
And I don't know why.
Really?
Really?
You change.
Baffles me.
The next time.
Befuddles me. Okay?
This isn't another episode of...
But yeah, so I would say conversation, compromise. If not, I agree with you, babe. Hire a maid and he can deal with the fallout of that. But it needs to be a male maid, not a female. Okay? Because we don't want any other problems, because then we don't know how far this behavior of his goes. We don't know.
Get a female maid, just have the maid there when he at work.
No, we don't. I'm not gonna make it seem like I cleaned the house for him behind his back. I want him to see that there is another man in your house cleaning it.
Washing your drawers.
Right. And seeing your shit stains. Right. Anywho, this has been another episode of Life After I Do. If you are not doing so already, you know what you can do, what you need to do. Help us out, move the podcast forward, and follow us on all of our social media platforms. You can follow us at TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
OnlyFans.
Shut up. Yes. And if you're not doing so, especially right now, if you're not doing so, following us on Instagram, go give us a follow on Instagram. We need to give Instagram a little bit more love, but yes, go follow us on Instagram. You can also write into us at lifeafteridopodcast@gmail.com, and you can listen to us every single Wednesday wherever you stream your podcast, Life After I Do podcast, and you can text us directly. Okay. So new episodes every Wednesday. Y'all know the routine. And until then,
peace, Booskies.
Peace, Booskies.